step one, first thing we're going to start making is the field coil. So for the field coil, I need a coil of wire, mounting bracket, and my field pole. You're going to have to unroll one of the wires. That's your first step. Easiest way to do that is to make sure that this is untangled from the wire itself. Put it on the finger and just roll it across your finger. If it starts getting tight, you got to make sure that you don't kink the wire as you're unrolling it. And then if you take a look at the directions before step one, it says important, the wire supplied has an insulated coating. So this is actually painted with insulated coating. Use sandpaper to clean the coating off the insulation as directed below. So I got all my parts set up. I got my wire, and I need to sand about an inch or two off of this end of the wire. So easiest way to do that is just to take your sandpaper. I just like to pinch it around the wire a little bit and go ahead and take as much of this insulation off as I can. Only about an inch or two. This is probably a little bit more than I have to, but I'm going to end up cutting some of this off because it's got some kinks in it. Alright, so it might be a little hard to see in here, but you can see that this part's really shiny. This part's dull. I've scratched off that insulated paint that's on there. I'm going to go ahead and do that on both ends. All right. So now, if you read the directions, it says hold field pole and mounting bracket together. Leave 2 inches of wire and begin winding the coil from part 2 tightly wound around the 2 parts. Keep the wire low and tightly next to the last wind. Using all of the wire, keep wrapping and leave 2 inches free at the end, shown in diagram 1. Make the winds as tight and as low of a profile as possible. So that's what we're going to go ahead and start doing. I'm going to leave about 2 inches exposed. That's a little bit more, but again, I'm going to trim that back. I don't want any of the sanded wire to get too close to the field pole, otherwise the electricity will short from this wire to that pole. And right now you don't have to worry about it being too straight. I'm going to wrap it around and make it pretty tight. Alright, and then I can hold it straight after I get that first coil there. And I'm just going to start winding it around. Pulling it tight with each coil. And right now, if you take a look at this, I got some gaps in between here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push that over so that it's got a tight uniform coil, and I'm going to keep going around. It will almost hurt your fingers as you're wrapping this. Alright, so now I got one row done. It's about as tight as I'm going to get it. Now you can see this one's lifted up a little bit right there. I'm just going to go ahead and push that down, smooth it out so that it's more uniform. Alright, I'm going to fit one more little coil there. And then what I can do is I can start going across, and I don't have to pull as tight now, because if you pull too tight, you might separate some of the windings on the bottom half. But you want it to be nice and close together. Alright, I still got a little bit of wire left, but that's what it looks like so far. And I'm just going to go back over. If you don't get this tight enough and the coils close enough to each other, it'll be too tall, and what'll happen is it'll end up hitting the armature as the armature spins. So that's 3 passes. So I wound one out, one back in, one back out again. And as you can see, I don't have enough to make another complete pass. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it here and then sand this part back down. If you don't have any wire cutters at home, that's okay. Just take a simple scissors. We'll cut through that wire, and then I'm going to go ahead and sand that down too. Don't sand it too close to here. Always leave a little bit so that you don't short those field poles out again.